Welcome to the Housing Authority of Cook County's online moving paper briefing. This presentation will review the forms that you receive in your moving paper packet. The forms may not be in the same order for your packet. The first form you'll see in your packet is the voucher. There should be 2 copies. Please sign and date both copies. 1 copy you will return when you submit your moving papers for a new unit. The voucher expiration date appears in line 3 of the voucher. You will have 120 days of search time to locate a new unit. Your unit size appears in line 1 of the voucher. The Housing Authority issues 1 bedroom for every 2 people in your family. This bedroom size is for your subsidy amount. This does not limit you to finding that size unit, and the Housing Authority does not tell you who will share what room or how you will use your unit. The moving paper process acknowledgement form gives you some details about what your responsibilities are during the moving process. Please review this and make sure you communicate the details of your move with your current landlord. Make sure you notify the Housing Authority if your address changes or you move out of your current unit during this process. The request for tenancy approval is the 3-page form that you'll complete with the owner for the new unit you wish to move to. Be sure that the full address of the unit is listed in line 2, including any unit numbers, and be sure the landlord includes street, avenue, place, so we find the right location. In section 11, the utilities, you and the landlord will discuss who will be paying what utilities. Make sure you understand what utilities you will be responsible to pay when you move into that unit. The second page of the request for tenancy approval has certifications from the owner, and both the owner and tenant will sign this at the bottom of the request for tenancy approval. The third page of this form is a disclosure of information regarding lead-based paint. If a property was built before 1977, the owner must disclose whether or not there are any known lead hazards in the unit. For all units, the tenant and owner must sign and return this form. There's a packet of landlord documents that the owner will complete and submit to the Housing Authority. There are 3 forms that the landlord will fill out: the declaration of ownership, a W-9 form, and a direct deposit form. The owner will also submit documents to show that he or she owns the unit, information about their tax ID, and if someone else is involved in the day-to-day operations, a management agreement. Many landlords will submit this directly to the Housing Authority, as this information can contain sensitive identifying information for the owner or for their company. The payment standard sheet shows you the different payment standards for the zip codes within Cook County. You should match the zip code for the unit you find to the payment standard range, and then review the bedroom size for your unit or the voucher. For example, if Susie Snowflake, who has a 3-bedroom voucher, finds a unit in zip code 60016, range Q, she will locate the payment standard in that range. Susie has a 3-bedroom voucher. The 3-bedroom payment standard for that range is $1,735. If Susie Snowflake found a 2-bedroom voucher, she would use the 2-bedroom voucher payment standard of $1,440, the smaller of the actual size or the unit size. The utility allowance schedule gives you an idea of what allowance will be granted for you for any utilities you pay out of pocket. Match the type of building, single-family home, a semi-detached townhome, or an apartment, and then look at the smaller of the bedroom size on your voucher or the unit size. Add up the allowance for each utility that you will pay out of pocket that is not included in the rent. This will be used to determine your portion that you will pay directly to the landlord. The preliminary rent offer describes how the housing authority will review the documents you submit to ensure that everything is affordable before we move on to the next step in the process. The moves process timeline gives you an overview of the steps in the approval of a new unit. If you decide to use your voucher somewhere outside the Housing Authority of Cook County's jurisdiction, fill out the Portability request form and review the Portability statement. You can use your voucher anywhere in the United States that has a housing authority. The mutual agreement to extend the lease form is used if you decide to stay in your current unit beyond the date you listed on your intent to vacate form that you signed with the landlord. The housing authority will not make any payments to your current landlord beyond the date you've put on your intent to vacate form. If you wish to stay in that unit because you have not located a new unit, or if you need additional time for your move, fill out this form with your landlord and submit to your housing specialist so that the current landlord continues to receive payment from the housing authority. When you move, fill out the key return vacate notice with your current landlord. Be sure to give your current landlord all the keys to the unit and a forwarding address where they can reach you to return any security deposit or forward any mail. If you cannot reach your landlord to fill out this form, fill it out yourself, sign and date it, and indicate the date that you moved out. This will be your ticket into your new unit. If you decide you do not want to move, or if your voucher time has expired, you and the landlord can sign the renewal move to renew in place request. This form alerts the housing authority that you've decided to remain in your current unit, and the housing authority will continue to pay the current landlord while you're there. You can always decide to move again at a later date by starting the process over with a new intent to vacate form. Once you submit your moving papers, these are the housing specialists who will work with your case. If your voucher belongs to the Housing Authority of Cook County, you'll use the list of housing specialists on the left side of the screen. If your voucher is administered by the Housing Authority but belongs to another housing authority where you used to live, use the list of housing specialists on the right side of the page. Each housing specialist has a caseload that is broken down by the last name of the tenant, listed right underneath their names on the sheet. After you submit your moving papers and the housing authority does a preliminary review, the housing authority will conduct an inspection to ensure that the unit meets the housing quality standards set by HUD. The checklist in this packet gives you an idea of what to look for when you're viewing units. Some towns also require a certificate of occupancy or a rental license. If you choose a unit in one of these towns, be sure that the landlord has that certificate or license available at the time of the inspection or when you submit your moving papers. You can check the affordability of the unit by reviewing the "Can I afford the unit I have found?" A more detailed description of this process is contained in another video on our website. Please watch that for more details on how to find a unit that is right for you. Your packet includes resources to locate a unit. The Housing Authority often instructs landlords to use IL Housing Search to list their available properties. You are not limited to these resources for finding a unit. If you are a victim of domestic violence, the VAWA form and information gives you details about your rights and protections under this law. Please reach out to your housing specialist if you have any questions. Lead-based paint was banned in 1978. Please review this pamphlet about how to make sure your family is safe from lead-based paint. The packet also contains other information about source of income protection, what to do in the cases of discrimination, what to look for in a good place to live, information about mold and bed bugs, and about fraud in housing authorities. Once you've completed your moving papers with a landlord, please turn those documents into the housing authority and submit the original documents. More information about the step-by-step process for approval of the unit is included in another video. If your landlord has questions about filling out the documents, we are including a video on our website about the landlord forms that are available. If you have questions about the moving paper process, please refer back to this video at any time or reach out to your housing specialist. Thank you.